Conversion rate. It's time to get the truth out. Conversion rate is totally useless when used wrong. And I'm confident that at least 50% of the e-commerce brands are using it in the wrong way. And you want to be sure that you're not one of them. In this video, I'm going to show you why conversion rate is crucial for the survival of your business, but at the same time, it's also hugely overrated. I know it doesn't make sense right now, but trust me, it will soon. But first, if you're new here, I'm Marc Uitterhoeve and I'm the CEO of Dexter Agency. And we've created the 7-figure foundations community for e-commerce owners to help them get to that 1 million mark. We've seen with working with 7 and 8-figure stores that one of the things that is blocking 6-figure stores from getting to that 1 million mark is that they don't have the essential marketing foundation set. And we have created a full program with help and support that actually helps them to get to that 1 million mark. And conversion rate is also one thing that is being discussed and oftentimes is misunderstood. And because it's misunderstood, a lot of brands are struggling with getting the right action. They are focusing on the wrong things because they don't fully see all the complications basically that conversion rate has. And therefore I want to actually get that out of the way and show you why it is crucial, but also why it is so dangerous when it's being used in the wrong way. But there are basically 4 reasons why it's so easy to get conversion rate wrong. 4 reasons that actually result in a lot of chaos when it comes to conversion rate and therefore steers e-commerce brands in the wrong direction. Now let me draw this out for you. Now the first reason or the first issue is traffic. Traffic plays a very important part when it comes to conversion rate. Basically, you can have traffic from a lot of different sources. You can send people to your site via Google search results, so the organic search results that people can see when they are Googling something. But you can also, of course, place ads on Google, and then you have your advertisements there. You can have ads on YouTube. You can send emails, and people go via the email to your website. They can, type in your URL directly in the browser. So there are a lot of ways that people can actually visit your site. And therefore, it really impacts also the quality. So let me draw here your website. If people come directly to your website and when they are going to your website through organic search results, their intention could be higher. These people, they know you, especially if they use your brand name in order to search for your website. And therefore, this is, would be high quality traffic. And that conversion rate would be high. People know you. If you on the other hand, have a lot of like YouTube ads or TikTok ads, and they would send traffic to your website, those are usually people that go on YouTube, for example, to be entertained, and they see your ad. So they don't have an intention to buy. The same for TikTok. The people on TikTok, they don't necessarily have an intention to buy. They're there to be amused and to be entertained. They might see an ad that they click on, either accidentally or on purpose, but they would not be in a purchase state of mind. They wouldn't have buyer intent. So when they go to your website, what will happen is that that conversion rate will be lower because they don't necessarily have an intention to buy. So what kind of traffic you send to your website makes a huge difference. Now, let me give you one last example to clearly illustrate this issue. Because if you are using ads, so let's say you use Google Ads, and you sell high quality furniture, and actually not only furniture, you're basically selling solid wooden tables. And if you target these keywords, solid wooden tables, and artisanal or whatever describes your brand, the people that go to your site will be higher quality traffic. While if you would target the keyword furniture, the people on your site would be less qualified. It would be less in line with what you were doing. That's specific, and therefore the conversion rate of those people would be lower. So the quality of the traffic that you get to your website drastically impacts your conversion rate. Now the other thing is the landing pages that you have, or the pages that you have, and in particularly blogs. Blogs, they don't have usually buy intent. If you have a sore throat or you have certain symptoms, you might Google what that could be, and you land maybe on a supplement website that has a blog post about the symptoms that you have. Now, you might not be interested in buying something, especially if you're not Googling it for yourself. If you're searching for a friend, they say, I have this symptom and that symptom, and you're like, what would they have? And you Google that, and you won't even have a buy intent. You're just curious what the ailment might be. So if you have a lot of blog posts, a lot of people are there to seek information. They don't have a buy intent. So if you have a lot of people on your website that are looking for information, then you might also have people that buy, but this will drastically influence your conversion rate, because this means that you will have more people on your website that don't buy. And if you wouldn't have this, I'm not saying you should get rid of your blogs, but if you, for example, say, let me remove the blogs, then you would only have people technically that go to the e-commerce pages, the pages that are there for people to buy. And so your conversion rate would increase. Again, I'm not saying you should get rid of your blog pages, but you need to put this into perspective. If you have a lot of these kind of informational pages, your conversion rate will automatically be lower. Another factor that there is user versus session. And this is mainly also an issue with GA4, where, for example, you can have two metrics to see your conversion rate: user conversion rate and session conversion rate. It's now renamed in key event rate, it doesn't matter, but there are different ways in which you can display your conversion rate. Now, I have another video that goes into more detail about conversion rate and how that is calculated. See this video. But the essence here is that if you use a different metric in order to calculate the conversion rate, you get different results. Because basically what would happen is that, let's say that you have 100 users on your website, and each of them visits your site at least twice in a day. So that would be that you have 200 sessions, because one user can visit your site multiple times. And let's just say on average, they visit your site twice a day. If you're going to calculate your conversion rate based on users, and let's say you have one purchase, your conversion rate would be 1%. On the other hand, if you use sessions, your conversion rate would be 0.5%, because you have double the amount of sessions. So that also influences what your conversion rate is and what the impact is. If on the one hand, you're going to look at users when you look at your conversion rate, and another time at sessions, you might think that you're doing, for example, a lot worse because your session conversion rate would be lower. Well, it might not be the case. You're just looking at a different metric. So it's also very important to be very consistent with conversion rate. A fourth one is also the platform that you use. And for example, you can use Shopify reporting or Magento reporting that show you how your website is performing, and you can use GA4 or any other kind of analytics tool. And each of them have maybe different ways of calculating what a user is, or they maybe get different kind of data. Maybe your data in GA4 is not as accurate as it is on Shopify. So you can also have different data there, and that can also skew your idea of what your conversion rate is. And therefore, it's also very important that you choose one. You either stick to looking at how your website performs in Shopify, for example, or Magento, or you look at GA4. But if you're going to mix and match them, you will get different metrics, and that will make you maybe in panic mode if you see that suddenly your conversion rate drops, just because you're looking at a different platform which always under-reports your real conversion rate. And that's why for some brands, a 4% conversion rate could be a good thing, because they have, for example, low quality traffic. And so their website does a really good job at converting those people, or they have a lot of blog posts. So it means that in general, they're doing a good job, because actually their conversion rate is being dragged down by those blog pages. And for others, a 4% conversion rate could be bad, because they don't have blog pages. They only have traffic on the side of people that know the brand, etc. So it is really important that you understand how this works, so you don't draw the wrong conclusions. Basically, the best way also to use a conversion rate is as a thermometer, to see how well are we doing. Are we doing well? Are we doing worse? And if you know that, for example, your conversion rate on desktop is 2% and your conversion rate on mobile is 0.5%, it shows you that mobile is really not doing well, and you need to focus on mobile. So it is a way to compare. If you see that your conversion rate on your Google Ads traffic is 1%, but on your Google organic results is 4%, you also know that you are missing the mark with your ads strategy. So it helps you to put things in perspective and to see where the bottlenecks are on your website. So to get to my point that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, conversion rate is super important, because it shows you how your website is performing and how your traffic sources are performing. So you can see, okay, this certain traffic source is doing well, or this certain device, mobile or desktop, is doing really well and the other one is not. And it helps you to guide your decision making in what you need to focus on first. Maybe you need to fix your product pages, maybe you need to focus on desktop. It really is powerful to see how well you're doing in turning those visitors into customers. So customers. But at the same time, conversion rate is also hugely overrated because it's not always put into the right context. If you are increasing your blog pages on your website and they get a lot of traffic, that could be a good thing. You get a lot of eyeballs, but your conversion rate could and probably will lower. That's not necessarily a bad thing if you're still profitable and making those blogs are not really hurting your bottom line. But you cannot panic and think like you're doing worse, or that your traffic is performing worse, or that your website is performing worse because your conversion rate drops. You need to have a clear understanding of what's going on. Maybe you started some new campaigns in Google Ads and they need to be warmed up. The algorithms needs to learn. And at the same time, you see your conversion rate therefore drop. You can go into panic mode and think that something is going wrong, but it might not be the case. Or you think that your website is doing really poorly in converting people to customers, but you're just having the wrong ads live and they are really bringing unqualified people to your site. And lastly, you can have either a different platform or different metrics that you're looking at, users versus sessions, that can also skew how you are evaluating your website. So people put a lot of emphasis, but conversion rate is just dependent on your website, on the traffic that you send there, and on the type of pages that you have. So it's not a metric set in stone. It is dependent on these external factors, and you need to understand those external factors in order to make a good calculated decision and draw conclusions out of the data that you're seeing. With that said, if you see that you have a conversion rate that's pretty low, or you feel like you can get more out of your website and that conversion rate could increase, feel free to schedule a call with me and we'll have a chat and we'll see what we can do for you. If you find this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay updated about e-commerce and all the tips and tricks and strategies that there are. See you in the next video.